Welcome back to Barn-Built Fabrications. Today we are going to be getting rid of the old vacuum boost and switching to the Tesla I-Booster. These are electric brakes. They are lighter and more efficient. Let's go ahead and get this thing installed. So you might be wondering why. I mean, Tesla, that sounds cool, sounds interesting, electric brakes, but why? Why would I want to do that? And there's a few reasons why you might want to do this swap. And honestly, this is the way to go for classic cars, new cars. This is the way of the future. This is what's up. And so right off the bat, you can tell, I mean, this sucker is a lot lighter than that other vacuum booster. The vacuum booster, you know, it has the steel and then the cast iron master cylinder. So it's a pretty weighty unit, and it's also larger. So having something with a smaller footprint is going to be more sleek. It's going to give you a lot more room under your engine bay, or in your engine bay. So clearance for valve cover clearance is going to be a big thing, especially if you have a big block or anything like that. It's going to help a lot with giving you a little bit more clearance. And then Tesla I-Booster, so they're electric brakes, so it will give you, in your classic car, the modulation and pedal feel of a new car. So it's going to be an efficient all-around, more efficient all-around design and product to use. This can be pretty comparable to the Hydro Boost, if you're familiar with that. It uses the power steering pump, and it generates the hydraulic pressure to come in to give you your power brakes. So it's similar in the function and feel of a Hydro Boost, the difference being that you don't have all the extra hoses, and you're not going to your power steering pump, you're not putting the extra load on that power steering pump, and you don't have to worry about leaks. And if you ever lose your power steering pump or have a hose go on that system with the Hydro Boost, you lose your power brakes, and maybe even potentially brakes in general. I'm not 100% on that. But with the iBoost system, you don't have that problem. And it's a lot easier to hook up. No hoses, you have literally 3 wires, and I'll show you that when we get to that point. So yeah, a few things whenever you're looking at picking one of these up, if this is something that you want to do. Gen 2s are most common for the swaps. They are found on the Honda Accord and the car models. I'm not very fluent on all the different Tesla models. This actually came off of a 2018 to 2020 Honda Accord, and that's kind of the hack. Anything that has Tesla on it is going to be, Tesla tax. Bosch actually makes this, so it's the Bosch I-Boost or iBooster, but it's commonly known as the Tesla I-Boost. So anyways, master cylinder is going to be different, reservoir is different depending on what vehicle you take it off of. That's all going to be different. On these Accords, they have these remote master cylinders, and that you have this little tiny guy here, and then this hose will go up to a separate reservoir. Well, I'm not going to be using this. I wanted to originally, and I'll show you the reason why and what we end up doing as we get this thing installed, so that I'm not sitting here talking to you for more than you want to watch. So I guess that's a good point to say, let's go ahead and get this, we'll get working on this and get it mounted up, and I'll talk through it as we go. The first thing before we get it bolted up, the first thing we need to change is going to be the end here to fit the clevis for the brake pedal that comes in the Monte Carlo. So this is threaded, this unscrews. So let's go ahead and take a look at this closer and see what is required to get this to adapt. So the first thing before we get this thing mounted up is, if you notice, the clevis on this is wrong in comparison to the original. Different size, different style, different length. So we need to get rid of this, but fortunately it unscrews. And then you can get a thread adapter. I got this one from McMaster Car. Here is the info for it. If it'll focus. And you're converting from an M8 by 1.25 over to a 3/8 24. So this is the part number you'll need if you're doing any kind of classic swap into an American vehicle, is this guy. So this will thread on and adapt from that smaller M8. And then you'll be set up and ready to go for the 3/8 24, I think it was. Yeah, 3/8 24 on this end. That we will need to put one of these for a new clevis. So that kit that I'm using that has the new clevis and the push rod and everything is this right here, GM Universal Master Cylinder Push Rod Kit. And in that, it comes with a new bushing here. It's a grommet, and then it's got kind of like a cone shape to it. So I got that put in here. So at this point, we are ready to put on our bracket, which I'll show you now. So you can make your own bracket for the Firewall. You could make it out of spacers or however it is that you want to do it. There's a company that I got this from called Back Bay Garage or Back Bay Customs. They're out of Maine, and they make these for the A-body cars as well as I believe the F-150s. Specifically, I think like the dent sides and stuff like that. So anyways, I bought this, you know, realistically, this is probably nicer than if I made something and would probably end up being cheaper. So I ordered this kit from them, and it's designed with all the angle and the spacing and everything perfectly set up for what it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this tightened down. You're gonna use the same hardware that you had whenever you removed the brake booster to put this back on. And then once I get this tightened down, we'll be ready to bolt up our new iBooster to this, and then we'll work on getting the pedal end set up. Got it all bolted up. These are going to also be M8 by 1.25 threads on the back, so get some hardware for that, tighten it down. I went with black oxide for the look. So, yeah, now let's work on the inside of the car. Now moving on to the inside of the car, you can see where that grommet is, and then the threads are pushing through. Slide this back a little bit to expose more of the threads. And what we're trying to do is take that shaft and thread it onto there. And then we have this clevis that goes on here, and we'll just connect the two. All right, we got this hooked up. Got the clevis on. Got our new pin through. And then make sure you set the correct pedal depth. And then the same thing for your brake switch. You want that so that when you release it, the button comes out. And when you push it, the button releases. And whenever you get off the brake, then it closes back up and stays nice and tight. That's what turns your brake lights on and off. And you don't obviously want that to be staying on when they're not supposed to, or not going on when they are. Now, if you're looking at this and wondering if you're looking at it sideways, you're not. There is something that's off. And that would be our master cylinder is sideways. So whenever I first put this on or was mocking up with the bracket, I too said, what's up with that? I reached out to the company and I asked them if there's like a reason why that is the way that it is. I'm not gonna make any assumptions. You could use this master cylinder, right? This is a 1-inch bore master cylinder from the factory. You could honestly use it on this car. So you need to do some sizing whenever you are sizing master cylinders, or do some calculations. And the difference between the smaller versus larger master cylinder size is how it responds. So with the smaller master cylinder, you're going to have more pedal travel, but a higher clamping force at your brakes, higher PSI. And with a larger diameter, you're going to have a shorter pedal throw because you're moving more volume but at a lower pressure. But in doing that, your pedal throw is going to go down slightly, and you're going to get a firmer pedal out of that. So, so you have 1 inch and a 1/16, and 1 1/8 inch master cylinder bore is going to be the 3 most common sizes. I'm sure that there's other ones out there that are less common, and you tailor however you need. So Back Bay Customs, they make an adapter for a master cylinder that will use a normal master cylinder, which I was going to use this one, the 1 inch, and then I was going to just take and use a remote reservoir and do the setup. I was having a little bit of trouble trying to find one, figure it out, whatever. So I ended up getting, long story short, I ended up getting their kit. So what it does is, I'll show you that piece in a minute. It recenters this, realigns it, and you could use either a Willwood or a bare master cylinder, like a standard style. It's larger and has a larger reservoir on it for this application. So I ended up doing that. You know, wasn't planning on it at first, but it's all good. So I asked them, you know, what the deal was, and they said that it gives more clearance, and if I wasn't happy with the bracket, I could return it, and they give me a refund. Well, you know, it wasn't exactly what I was going for as far as like, I wasn't making any accusations, but I don't know if they're just trying to sell both things to you, maybe. But anyways, it's nice quality stuff, and it is reasonable price, but just know that if you want to go with these pre-made things, if you get this bracket, you're gonna need to get also a master cylinder. That's honestly the thing, that the master cylinder is a little costly. The bracket, I think, was $168. It's really not that big of a deal, and you can have a standard bracket, or a standard master cylinder. So, but the master cylinder is like $400 or more. So, anyways, I'm gonna show you that piece now. We'll get that on, and then we will put on our new master cylinder. All right, master cylinder's off, and this is the adapter piece. And you see it levels out the bolts for the studs. It comes with some new hardware on it. And then the kit also obviously comes with the other hardware, the other nuts, and then it comes with the new push rod. So you will not be reusing the factory push rod. That's gonna stay with that guy. So this new one will slide over there. And then I went with the bare master cylinder. This thing is gorgeous, looking real nice. This is the bare remastered master cylinder. This is an 1 1/8. The only size that they currently, they being Back Bay Customs, accommodates for is an 1 1/8. So you are, you know, confined to that. So anyways, I went with this for the valving versus the Willwood. I think that this, from what I read, had a little bit better valving as far as being a daily driver, not like the race kind of focused. So really nice piece. Definitely is gonna look real pretty on this. I'm gonna leave this somewhat loose, I think, until I get this on to center everything up. There's a little bit of slack. All right, I'm gonna tighten that down, and then we'll put that master cylinder on. And there you have it. That is all bolted up. So you can see that you get a ton more space there for your valve covers, and just overall, you know, clean engine bay. And yeah, it's gonna give us, you know, I'm doing this to get the better, a more modern brake feel out of it. And if you have a large cam shaft in your engine that you're not getting a lot of vacuum at idle, you don't have to worry about vacuum cylinders or doing the hydro boost or anything else. You can do this guy right here. So we have one thing left that's specific to the iBooster, besides making up lines. One thing before I get to it that I want to mention, or need to mention, is that your distribution block, you need to change that. Even if you have drum brakes in your current configuration, you want to make sure that you have that set up as a disc for the pressures that this is putting out, and then just put a proportioning valve, which is what I'm going to be doing, all that, and then just adjust for your rear drums. And then once you have all that set up, you're good, and you're also set up in the future. So if you want to run disc, which I plan to do at some point, then easy. Just adjust your proportioning valve and you're ready to rock and roll. Now you have your wiring harness. You gotta wire this up. Electric brakes, they need that power. And let me show you how hard this thing could be. Man, it could be a beast sometimes. Like, the idea of trying to do it one-handed is just, you know, I don't know. So I can't even conceive it. Can you even imagine what that'd be like? Yeah, that's it. All done. Obviously, I'll clean that up, but that's all plugged in, man. These kits, you can get them, you know, off of a factory vehicle, or I got mine from Amazon or eBay. I don't remember, one or the other. So all you have left, I got some wire management done here. It's a lot cleaner, but you have the 3 wires to hook up. Your black is your ground, and this is a nice kit that it actually has it labeled. So black is ground. Red on this kit is going to be your 12-volt constant. So direct to battery or a battery source. And then your green wire is just going to be your signal or your switched 12 volts, and that wakes everything up. And that's it. That is literally all you need to do. Ground, constant 12 volt, and switch 12 volt, and you have electric brakes. Done. Simple. You really can't beat that. All right, guys, that's a wrap. So you can see how easy of an installation this was. I'm pretty confident in saying that this is probably going to be my brake upgrade that I go to in the future on other projects. It's simple, it's fairly inexpensive, all things considered. And yeah, so I mean, I opted for the master cylinder and the pre-made brackets, but again, you could do this for even cheaper. It's really not that bad, and it gives you really good results. So can't recommend it enough. So anyways, hopefully you guys found this video helpful. You guys get outside, get wrenching on something, piss off your neighbors, disappoint your mom, and until next time, keep on keeping on.